Hi, everyone, and welcome to the World Session for November 12th, 2024. Today, we're doing a surrogate session. Mimi has requested a session. This is for stomach digestive system. And as a matter of fact, there are several other people who've requested the same thing. We're also going to work with anxiety and possibly we'll see how that comes up, but family matrix that actually invades the body mind and can be very damaging. It can cause pain. It can increase our anxiety, especially for those of us who are sensitive. Now, there are a lot of people on here that the reason why you would come on is that you are sensitive to energies. So Mimi is my surrogate, but I'm going to use the rabbit, my beautiful, energy rabbit, as Mimi. So, Mimi, this is you. She can see me right now. She's aware of it. So, she's going to be getting the session, but you may experience it. So, by the way, I was in a class once and the teacher did a link on the person on the table. I was way at the back of the class. Maybe there were 60 people in the room. I was way at the back. And he was working on someone on one of the massage tables like that, and did a link. And I didn't even realize this, but I went, but I was so intently studying and watching what he was doing because it was a class. And he turns around, he goes, "Who did that?" And I went, "Oh, me. I made that noise." And he went, "Oh, so the link was for you in the room." So just that's an example of what could be happening to you, even though this is on video. Video, even though this is digital, just breathe into it. And if there's something that you feel is strongly yours, you can actually, really receive it, be open to receiving it. The other thing you can do is just notice what's going on in your body. One of the things that we do is we have a fail safe. We don't want anybody receiving anything they don't need. We don't like anything to be out of order. So we're stating this. This is the intention. You can read on Lynn Taggart and intention. Anything that has this intention that we do no harm, that nothing goes in that is not required by the body mind. You might need it in 5 days from now. You might need it in 6 months from now. But if you don't need it today, you don't get it. So let's start with the belly. So I'm actually holding Mimi and I've got my hands on Mimi's belly. And right away, I'm experiencing nausea and already there's some burping coming up. It's really connected to throat, to lower part of the tummy. It's not even it's in the stomach, but really low, like goes down to the small intestine. So the next thing that I see is that the chakras are getting linked up. So self-expression, so, um, maybe even the ability to speak out what Mimi thinks in relationship to whatever is comprised in the second chakra. And we're going straight to, there are many things in all these areas. These are the things that are coming up as priority, but shame, guilt, fear is not located necessarily in the second chakra. We know that's part of the kidneys, the adrenals, but you can get fear lodged down there. Remember, working with this body mind as holistic, right? Holistic. And just breathe. So you may feel that you feel guilty about expressing something. You may feel ashamed of expressing something, even in your personal thoughts, even in your own personal mind. You may not allow yourself to think certain things, other than just the freedom to think anything that you want, but the freedom to allow the thoughts to do what they need to do, and you to be able to have strength to endure and to get anxiety to dissipate, or to manage anxiety, or to, I don't like any of those words yet. Let me just see what comes up. I'm holding I went straight to Mimi's heart, and I'm looking at what is this heart energy. It's really having compassion for the part of us that can be thinking very negative things that can be useful in times of difficulty. So there are a lot of people who do many, many successful things, but they have narcissism, let's say. But they are very successful. They may not have too much compassion for other people. They may not have, they may be manipulative, etc., but they can do amazing things. You might know people who do that. So if we look at the part of some kind of malfunction that could be useful to us, I'm not talking about psychopathy. That's something very different. I'm talking about, on the scale of, let's say, compassion. A lot of us can be way up high, like in the 90s, 98%, 99%, 100% compassion, which is fine. That's fine. But guilt comes up with compassion as well. So the more compassion you have, the more guilty you feel. So this Mimi that I'm working with definitely has very high levels of compassion, very high levels of agreeableness, very high levels of responsibility, okay? And that engenders tons and tons of guilt. So we're working with that as throat, heart, and second chakra. Now, that's going to expand out into different areas that can reduce the functionality and movement of the rib cage, functionality and movement of the hip basin. Now, a lot of us have variations there. I have a stepson, and he's working with McGill University, and they're developing a computer protocol. They have it on the phone. They're developing an app now where you just take a photograph of someone in movement. They could be jumping up on a box and jumping down, different movements, and it creates this figure and shows what the likelihood is of that person developing ACL, having ACL problems. Okay. Very cool stuff he's doing. So if you think about the work that we do here in energy healing, we're seeing into the body and looking at these tiny adjustments. So some of you might be incredible athletes. You might be moderate athletes. You might take care of yourself really well. You could have a really good body, but there can be one teeny tiny contraction in a muscle in your rib cage that kind of distorts. You can't see it with the naked eye. You don't notice that the person is distorted, but your body feels it. And as you age, it could start to contract. What happens if I start to contract like this? This is a bit exaggerated. This would be easy to notice. I could start contracting, which would mean I'm going to contract the right side of my body, which means the other side is going to expand, which, most of us understand that occurs. You're going to have problems in the neck. You're going to have problems in the hips. You're going to have problems in the spine. So we want to get, just by looking at it and feeling into it, and we'll tap it in, where your breath opens up that diaphragm and we balance it to that beautiful pelvic basin. So hold on for a second. We looked at the throat. This is your expression. What you resign yourself, you will not express. This is not, I'm not giving you advice. I'm not telling you what to express or not to express. We're allowing the body to find out for itself, your body, mind, what is it that you contract? You don't necessarily need to tell anyone, though going to your therapist is great, but it's to have that awareness so that, oh, I see what I didn't express. I see what I didn't look at. And then as soon as that starts to happen, the second chakra starts to move the guilt, fear, and shame associated with it. And then it goes straight into the body moving. Now, Mimi asked me to work with her tummy, first of all. That's the first place. Interesting, look where we went. We went into throat chakra, we went into pelvic basin, because there's no room to digest, and all of the cells right down to inside the cell, all those organelles, they're processing the same way as mouth through throat, down the esophagus, into the stomach, into the belly, starting to digest everything. And then we go to the excretory system. The skin is coming in very strongly to all of this as well. Okay, I'm experiencing a lot of nausea on that. So we're going to go into what are the things within your family you cannot digest. So we want the brain to start looking for that. What are the things within my family? So we're going to do a couple of categories. One category is your expectation. So imagine I'm in my own body and I won't even allow myself to have certain thoughts. Okay. Can you imagine how you're doing that with the rest of the people in your world? Right? So everyone feels that there's an interchange. This isn't about blaming me or you. This is about realizing there's that interchange and we're all trying to limit each other. Usually when someone goes through a problem, we want them to be completely unlimited, right? You have a child, let's say, right? As soon as you have a child and your child goes through things, you're trying to free up your child. You're doing whatever you can to free up your child. I even feel the same way with all my kids, which are, I don't have any, but all of my people who are in my life who come to me for healing, they're like my kids. And of course I want them to be free. I want to help free them up so they can function really, really well. But that will only go as far as I am free. Now chew that for a second. Chew that, chew it. So remember, chewing the cud digests something and allows the tummy to move. We want to get the tummy to move. And when that small intestine, when that colon isn't working, I'm sure you all know what happens. You know, when you have a really big meal and your belly bloats out, you get up and you go, oh, my back, right? Everything starts pulling. I'm going to repeat it again, and I'll probably say it a million times before I die. We're a holistic system. There is no separation here. No separation. Yeah. No separation. We are one whole system. Yeah, we can divide things up and give it names, but they all work together. So your childhood, your present life, your stressors, everything. Feel all of that. Oh my God, my childhood, my present life, all my stressors, and right away, oh, I can feel that energy just coming up. So what do we do with that? That's what I'd like to know right now. I'm not feeling so good on that one. It looks like it's linked to the entire nervous system. So here, we don't just eat food, we eat our stressors, we eat life, right? Everything that comes in. If you want, take a breath on that, because that was really important. We are eating all of that. Now it needs to just go through, get digested, dross leaves, right? We take the good stuff, dross leaves. So this piece that we did on resignation and not allowing ourselves to look at all the dark pieces within ourselves. Remember, if we follow our thoughts to the end, it could be really dark. We usually talk ourselves out of it and say, don't think like that. We need to go right to the end, see all that darkness. So we don't have to experience the anxiety of it, nor do we act it out. You don't want to be acting out terrible things, but you want to deal with it right to the end, because the mind is a really weird place. And that's how the tummy is going to help digest. Now I get no nausea. No nausea. But I do feel this very strange pressure coming from behind onto the shoulder blades and pushing down through my spine. And right through the lats, right? So imagine you got the top of the scapulae, right? And just a pressure coming in. So you're going to have your, what do you call it? The trapezius there, and all of the connections, like your levator scapula, and that's going to lean on the scapulae, the subscapularis, the rotator cuffs. But it's also pushing down and going right into the latissimus, that beautiful latissimus that needs to be exercised and strong. And it's not always, those exercises we need to do. I always do this to pull so I can feel those lats moving a little bit. We want to get everything moving. We're going to use movement from the body, that's your liver, gallbladder, to give that movement to the lats and support this structural transition that your brain is going to do. Structural transition your brain is going to do. It could be less than a degree somewhere. It could be a fraction of a millimeter, fraction of a millimeter, to some of us where we need a little bit more. Yeah, I'd say for me, I need quite a bit more in some areas where, the body is distorted. I even walk a little crooked. I need a cane every so often to, not to walk, but to make sure I don't fall over because I lean like this. One leg's weaker. We want to get that bodily, actually, now that I brought up weaker. Okay, so we want to get the bodily balance, but we also want all of the muscles within the system to have their tensegrity. That's what it's called, through the cerebellum. All right, folks. Yes, beautiful, beautiful. I'm going to do a repair on the gut brain. So any of you with IBS, any of you with constipation, that includes diarrhea, any of you with digestive issues, we're going to do a generalized repair. So you hear all those burps. Obviously, it's partly for me as well, but that also links to Mimi and whoever else wants to receive it. So let's just breathe. I don't know why I'm contracting. I don't know if you noticed, but my legs are crossing over and contracting. My shoulders are contracting. My arms are coming in and contracting. And I'm just going to pull. I'm going to really follow that. I don't want to resist it. I want to follow it for some reason. So that contraction is really kind of pushing everything out that needs to be moved. And I'm just going to wait and see. And now there's an inhale trying to come in through the nose. And an exhale, and there's the relaxation and the opening. So it's really letting go of the contraction within the family that tells us we're not supposed to behave a certain way, and has stopped the possibility of us seeing everything going on in the conscious mind and the subconscious, even though it's yucky, it's terrible, but it needs to be seen, right? We need to always know what's going on with us. Otherwise, whatever we suppress will come back with a vengeance. So some people, it can come back with, the mind breaks. Sometimes it can come back as a disease. We don't want that, especially back pain. We know back pain has affiliated strongly with anger. So we want that to play itself out so we can see it. We know what's going on inside, and it helps the body alleviate. Okay, and I'm just going to run some repair formulas to the gut brain, to the small intestine, and to the colon. Okay. Lots of burping there. So there's lots of stuff that wants to come out. I think in Mimi, there's a lot of air. I don't remember if Mimi told me that, but there just feels like there's a lot of, the whole session I've been working is I've been using Mimi and I've been burping. So I feel like there's just way too much, like the whole belly. I don't necessarily feel it, but I feel this extra belly, super bloated. I think I need to kind of put a pin in that, but we need to, this is a little bit of an acid environment. You could also look into creating a more alkaline environment. I think, what is it, fermented foods, or when I'm too acid, I like vinegar, so I drink vinegar in soda water. But soda is not the greatest thing to drink when you have burping, but if you maybe put some vinegar on your salad just to get the environment to be, and it should be apple cider, I think, is better. And that'll help you have a more alkaline environment, or whatever it is you do for alkaline, right? Because right now, caffeine, chocolate, those kind of things create acid environments. So yeah, just check your acid, food acid list and look at alkaline foods. and just to eat those for a little bit just to get things going. Another way to get the burps to come out or the gas to come out is lemon and bicarbonate of soda, right? The powder, not baking powder, but baking soda. That's what it's called, baking soda, for God's sakes. It's funny, eh, when you remember things. Here we do everything bilingually. So I was seeing the label in French and trying to do it in English. Ridiculous. Okay. So yeah, you could do baking soda with some lemon in water. And that I find that really, really helps in case you've got, but whatever your trick is, these are all mummy, grandma home remedies that I love to use that work really well. All right, everyone. Love you all. And I hope your gut brains work a lot better this week, because that gut brain is just have a lot of trouble. Not just the gut brain, but the gut, the microbiome, etc. Have a great week and see you next week.